Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's the penultimate episode
This is the
of
last
Breaking
episode
Bad.
with a pen in it.
It's the last episode with a pen. That's right. It's really hard, man. I guess this wasn't as hard as last week's, which was like the hardest hour of television, maybe ever.
Certainly wasn't as violent. There was one horrible violent moment, but it was just.
It was quick, yeah.
That was an episode where you're like, yes, I know something terrible is going to happen. I know what that terrible thing is. I'm pretty sure when it's going to happen, and I'm counting down the moments till it actually occurs. Last week's.
But Ben Mankiewicz, Mark Thompson here, Brett Erlich on the What the Flick edition of Breaking Bad, or the Breaking Bad edition of What the Flick, I suppose is how we'd say that. But that bad thing that happened in the previous episode, named for the Percy Bysshe Shelley poem that I can't pronounce. That's why you need Alonzo. But that bad thing that happened in the beginning. Hank was shot in the head. Mm-hmm. And then 9 other terrible things happened one after another. The Walt Jr. witnesses the stabbing and his fight between his parents and everyone, and Marie learns that Hank's not coming back, and Walt Jr. learns what Walt has done, and they kidnap the baby, and Skylar's screaming for her child. Jesus, for the love of God.
What was the name of this episode again?
This was the Granite State.
And that's New Hampshire.
That's New Hampshire.
Huh.
So this one, and we talked last week, you guys weren't here last week, but we speculated on would we ever see who is the new identity guy? Would we see the guy? And Alonzo, and I was like, it should be somebody huge. It should be like, look at that, George Clooney played that guy, right?
Well, they
came close.
Yeah, they got his dad in the Descendants.
They got his dad in the Descendants. They got maybe my favorite character actor working in America, Robert Forster, who's just, if you've made the hideous mistake of not seeing Jackie Brown 9 times, begin seeing it. But I mean, that
was his comeback. I guess that was his comeback movie.
Yeah, that was sort of
his mainstream.
Yeah, that was his mainstream movie. He's so good. But I loved seeing him in this. I loved seeing him be that guy.
He was perfect in a sense, better than a George Clooney type. I mean, he was because of his character and his texture as an actor.
Totally.
Just he visually, the way he plays it so stolidly. He plays it so dryly. He plays it so cut and dryly. I mean, the character is written so well. For example, when essentially Walt's gone out of his mind and is begging for him to stay, for just to hang out.
What a powerful scene that was. Can you
I'll
stay
give you
$10,000 for 2 hours? And he gives him 1.
Yeah. That really tells you about this situation and that character. And in a sense, it was the window to the whole noirish aspect of the episode. You talked about it last week when all these things were revealed. This is, I thought, setting the table for what is truly noir. Nothing good's going to happen to anybody now.
Also, I felt like this was it's weird. It was the Jesus-iest episode. This is, Jesus spent 40 days in the desert. They were already in the desert, so he spends a year in New Hampshire. That moment where you need to I was like, when is stuff gonna happen? We're getting farther away. The Major Tom is out at the apogee of his orbit, and I know we gotta come back. How? Why is he coming back? And they get you. Everyone is just going through. They're bearing their crosses, and they're just getting beat to shit. And Jesse's getting tortured.
Literally beat to shit. Right?
Yeah, everything is going wrong. Everything is getting as far from resolved as possible. And I thought that they just did a great job of bearing that out.
By the way, you mentioned Jesse. Did you feel as though he was going to be successful? They set that escape up.
I thought he was going. Yeah,
me too.
My girlfriend was like, they're going to kill Jesse. And I was like, no, he's getting out. He's making it, but nope.
Yeah, because there's that the showrunner in your own mind where it's like, okay, so Jesse has to get out so that something good can happen.
Right. So
he can redeem himself and some kind of justice can be meted out. But
it's so clear nothing good is going to happen. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ben.
No. Continue.
That's just what I of course, I'm hoping and rooting for all of these characters, even the characters you didn't think you'd root for. You all of a sudden start rooting for something, as you say, something positive to come out. But I think truly, it's classic noir. It's got nothing.
Totally, and I'm going to go back to the brilliance of how they put this together, and that they never do, so seldom do what you expect, even what you expect a good quality show to do. To go back to that scene with Robert Forster and Bryan Cranston, when Cranston says, "Can you stay for 2 hours? I'll give you $10,000." I was sure in the world of quality TV, a guy with Robert Forster's character, with the sort of innate, like he was saying, like he's an outlaw, but he plays by rules, and that he would say, "You don't need to pay me.
Yeah.
I'll stay." Nope. He ended up staying for 1 hour for $10,000.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
and that.
right.
So I mean, I was so positive that was at least going to be our nice moment of actual friendship. But he's like, no, Walt's a pain in the ass and a psychopath, and I'll take as much money from him as I can. And maybe when he's gone, I'll just take that whole barrel.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
by the way, to your point on
Yeah.
that, I mean, he's asked, of course, during this 1 hour, and while they're playing cards, you know, he's Walt, desperate to do something for the family, and we can talk about that in a second, because the family, of course, is completely dissolved, or is dissolving. But he's begging, essentially, he's trying to ensure something happens with his money that takes care of his family. And he asks Robert Forster, and Forster has that great response. If I said yes, would you believe me? I mean,
So well delivered.
Yeah.
Bounces in his chair.
Robert Forster is a great actor. Like, he's an A+. There's nothing, can do nothing wrong as far as. So one thing I didn't quite, I guess, you know, I struggle with the time only because I want to figure it out. I know they haven't done anything wrong. I know they haven't made any timeline mistakes. They're too good for that. It's too well thought out. But when was that moment happening with Marie, with the agents, when they go by Walt's house, and then the two agents get out and go into the house? What was that? I mean, what was happening?
This was before. Oh, that was the white trash people, the Nazis.
Right.
Not the white trash, different kind of white. The Nazi people were going in to get the interviews that Jesse made with to confess to Hank, all the stuff that had happened. They had gone into Hank's house because they knew it was in Hank's house, and to investigate, and so that's what they found and brought home.
And that's what that video was.
That's what the video was. But how did they know somebody had been in the house?
Because the door was open.
They were just.
Oh, because there's papers all
place
over
was
the
trashed.
front.
Yeah, I thought.
The driveway was covered
in papers that they had.
Someone had clearly sacked.
So
the
that
joint.
is. So it's not long, obviously, after. Not long after they've taken Jesse. Not long after this whole thing has happened. The house is uninhabited, but the house is not yet.
There's only one flash forward in this, and that's at the end when we see Walt come to the gate.
There's only one flash forward, but we're not seeing scenes with each person. They're not happening necessarily at exactly the same time. Right? No. We don't. When we see Walt months later, we don't know when the scene with Jesse was exactly where he tried to escape. It had been 2 months, 3 months. We know Walt has had at least 2 meetings with. Yeah. With Robert Forster.
In fact, you can mark
twice.
the time kind of that way, but you're right. To be fair, it's a bit confusing because your mind wants to sort of go to that meantime.
Right.
This is happening.
Right. When we see Walt 3 months later, does that mean we're seeing and I don't think it is, and I don't think it matters.
Yeah, right. It's essentially just tracking the arc of these people during this period.
And right.
And the exact time isn't necessary. But what happened to the family here over both last episode and this episode, I think, is just because there's so much here. But Walt, says it's for his family. Who would think that Walt, who really did make the true passage into darkness, I mean, real horrible darkness, might actually look like more of a family guy because we meet crazy Uncle Jack, the Nazi, these white power dudes. I mean, they make Walt sort of look like Mr. Rogers. I mean.
But then also you've got the relationship between Todd and Uncle Jack, where Uncle Jack's like, I have to kill this guy for my business, but I like that spark of entrepreneurialism in my nephew. Right. Also, he's sweet on that chick. Like, that is a supportive familial bond, where Waltz is what was purportedly only motivated by trying to make his family secure, ended up just completely ruining everything.
By the way, do you see, as we were talking about their spin-offs for Saul, and I saw a spin-off, or I saw one possible route to conclusion where Todd ends up as the kingpin, just because he's,
That's a great villain that they've crafted.
He is a really great villain.
This total sociopath. We were talking about that in an earlier episode, where this guy completely. There's no value in the traditional sense, the way we ascribe value to personal interactions. He's just very utilitarian. He likes, like, I want to have a relationship with that girl because she's pretty. I need to get that guy to make stuff for me, so I'm gonna. There's so many amazing moments in this.
He was the charming kid on Friday Night Lights. I don't know if you ever watched
Jesse Plemons. Yeah, he was, and it totally did. I mean, he managed to use the innocence which he can play so well to this effect of an incredibly charming character on Friday Night Lights, and he uses this same innocence to be like an undeniable sociopath who. I mean, he's like, all of a sudden you're like forget Aaron Paul and Bryan Cranston. Like this Jesse Plemons guy, this guy can act.
Yeah, so good. It's so little. He does so little. Like the small transformations from no expression to a hint of a smile.
And how about the back-to-back episodes of being handcuffed in a car and screaming to stop something from Walt and then Jesse in this week, trying to stop the murder of Andrea.
It's got me so depressed to cheer up. I watch videos of puppies being shot.
Yeah,
just to get something a little bit more happy.
Nothing personal.
Nothing personal. He's just so cold. And Jesse, I'm glad. I hadn't seen Jesse cry enough and be completely demoralized and turn to rubble. And I'm glad I got a chance to see more of that. It's almost like they're like, have we done? Do we have? They were going
just do
through
a
their
week
bag.
of it all at once. You think of their, hey, listen, I'll tell you. Okay, so then the next scene, this is why you're slamming your head against the side of the room.
Will Walt and Jesse get a scene together in the finale?
I don't know. All bets are off in terms of what kind of. There's so much stuff we need, right? And then a really great show gives us some of that, but also maybe none of that.
Right.
Yeah,
maybe
so
not,
if they do give it, it's awesome. If not, it's like I understand.
Right.
I am nothing in the
I mean,
face
he's
of you.
clearly on his way to serving up nuclear vengeance, or trying to, and they really play him sort of staggering to that really well. I think so far, but. Whether his vengeance can be nuclear enough to truly include all the circles, and Jesse, of course, is the vengeance that he had first plotted, but now he states his vengeance goals quite clearly in this last episode. He wants he wants the guys who took his money and
killed Hank.
Right, killed Hank, essentially ruined his family, ruined his plan. He wants them. They're top of the list.
I'm curious. You know who I think is going to get a lot of money out of this deal somehow? The only person who's going to get a lot. I think Brock. I think Brock is somehow going to get left a few $1 million.
Yeah,
this. I don't know quite.
The baby, the child,
the poor orphan now. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a gutsy spinoff right there.
Don't.
Breaking Bad surprises. Brock, the baby is new kingpin.
Do not date Jesse Pinkman is what we've learned from this.
Oh yeah, Jesus,
Wow,
do not
This
date.
does not end well.
They were just they do so many things. Like, I guess it's in a conversation in the writers' room. They're like, because it's a throwaway line. I loved Skylar's scene with the feds because it's a reminder that the federal government, the prosecutorial arm of the federal government, can be brutal and unfair, and they can ruin your life just on the investigation part. Even at the end, like, they can say we're going to do all this to Skylar, they can't convict her. They don't have anything. No jury would convict her. They don't have any evidence, but they can ruin her life. They can ruin her life and make her come up with something. I thought then that line that then Forrester delivers to Walt of, she's a taxi dispatcher.
Right.
Like, that's the perfect job. They found the perfect thing to give her. It's so good. But I thought the neo-Nazis going to Walt's house to scare Skylar in the first days after, like, do you think Skylar would have remembered to give the feds Lydia if Todd hadn't? So Todd hadn't gone in there and said,
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I had that same thought. I was
bungled.
like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was a shocking
bad,
development. The neo-Nazis bungled something.
There were so many things that Walt was doing weird. At that time, he was kind of frazzled and all over the place. Maybe running into Lydia would just be one of those things that went unnoticed by Skylar.
Well, and Lydia really is sort of a side character, I think, when it comes to when it comes to everything, and the notion that I love the idea that they did bungle that. I mean, hey, look, I'm hip deep in alligators with my husband. Okay,
Right.
Lydia, who the F is that?
Right, exactly.
So yeah, I think you're
But
right.
you do need it like something that ruins. You know, if you had to find Todd's fatal flaw, this is potentially it. Like, he's sweet on her.
Right, he's sweet on her, and he didn't want to, and I mean, he really was like, Lydia obviously wanted her killed.
Right.
And Todd was like, no, I think if you'd been there. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
he's
so weird, such a weird guy.
I can't, she's a great actress,
grows
by
up
the
to
way.
be Hannibal
Lydia,
Lecter.
like, what a great piece of
yeah.
casting.
Yeah.
Someone who at the beginning I thought was a little too frazzled and a little too kinetic in her acting, a little over the top. Really, I now get what she's
She
doing.
has that Todd
Laura-
quality, which is sort of like, as you say, you get distracted by her, to use your word, frenetic kind of quality, but then you realize, oh, she's got an agenda here,
Yeah.
and she's,
And there's almost that part of her that's like, there, Todd.
Yeah, totally.
You
Yeah.
know, pat you on
But
the
she got
head.
suckered in by 92%, and now maybe even 96.
right. That's a brilliant scene where he just lays that out there for her to be sucked in.
And they come back to her chamomile tea. I mean, that whole like a chamomile tea, soy milk, and I'll need more stevia. I mean, it's so good.
No, it's true. It's that's the textured nature of the show. The writing is so specific, and they do stuff like that.
To that point-
Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium.
Two copies.
2 copies.
But that also, I mean, that's why would they pick that? That is a movie. That was Heath Ledger's last movie.
Right.
Johnny Depp has a cameo where he plays a weirdo. Like, it is this out of body, out of universe experience, and that's kind of what
That's
this,
really interesting. I didn't think to look it up. I didn't
Nor
think to
did I.
remind myself. That's a great call.
I just love that it was the movie, and I didn't even know that was the nature of the movie.
Another specific
And then,
is
but real quick, and then Forrester says to that, he's like, "Yeah, I'm not much of a movie guy. Yeah, right? like that's why I have 2."
Yeah, how much of a movie person do you need to know to know that those are
two are the same.
This is the same movie. Sorry, go ahead.
But another specific to that point of the textured writing is, in the script it clearly says Todd looks over, sees lint on Lydia's back, and pulls it off.
Pulls it off, yeah.
Like
Right.
she's his little pet.
Right.
He just doesn't know how to talk to her.
It's been a show that's always had these great images, great shots. The show started with the wild images of the in the desert when they were just first cooking up the meth of the wild scene where they're driving. I mean, these sort of like, wow, and all the time spent with you'll recall an insect in the lab that Walt's sort of staring down. These are just weird moments that create a mood, and they do that very, very well. And then it extends to those things, as you suggest, the lint and these other details.
We've all watched. I think you have. You watched The Wire more than once. I think we've talked.
I started it again, but I haven't seen
I've seen
twice.
it full through, and you watch it the second time, and there are all these things that you see coming then that you totally missed the first time. I imagine that it's going to be very easy in 2 years for me to watch, if I choose to watch Breaking Bad again.
Mm-hmm.
That it will be all of a sudden those scenes and The Fly and all these things will mean so much more because you'll have seen this plan that they had.
I rewatched this.
You
Breaking Bad.
Right.
Between the A part of the season and the B part of the season, I rewatched the whole thing just to get back up to when they were releasing new episodes. And absolutely.
Yeah.
There were entire episodes where I was like, this is dumb.
Right.
This just doesn't have to happen.
Right.
And then you come back and watch it again, you're like, this could not have happened.
This could not have happened.
This is
right?
exactly
This had to
right. They'll fly in the ointment. This is setting up everything about.
So the flash forward in the season 1 part A, where we see him make the bacon in 52, and he's at the diner, and she's like, "Oh, it's your birthday. You're eligible for our birthday discount." And so I guess that we got the name mentioned then. Like I don't remember, but she must have said, "Oh, Mr. Lambert" or something, right? Yeah. I'm guessing because then we learned. So was that in New Hampshire or was that?
That was here because I don't think it was in New Hampshire just because it was so snowy and then so temperate.
So he'd already.
I think he got in a car and drove back to Albuquerque.
So
I'm pretty sure it's in Albuquerque because he's meeting back up with the guy who gives him the guns.
With Jim Beaver.
Jim Beaver.
Yeah.
And that.
So he leaves the phone. We don't know how long it takes cops to get to some rural part there of New Hampshire. By the time they can trace it, he's probably had a couple hours, but the drink is still there, so it hasn't been that long. And what did he do? Did he go back and get them? Like
he's gone.
So he's gone, which means
he went and has the money in his pockets,
Yeah, that
and
was
he
his
is
plans.
gonna go buy a car and
so
leave.
He's mailing.
And a burner.
Is he going to go ahead and mail that? Who knows whether he mails
I think
$100,000?
that. So what? To who? For what?
Yeah.
Now
He'll-
that Walt Jr. is done.
Doesn't mean that Walt Jr. wouldn't go home, tell his mom about the call, and she wouldn't say, "We could use $100,000." You know,
Right,
She's at least a little more practical. I'm curious, but basically, what I'm getting at, fine, he can stuff as many dollars as he can into what he's got. He's got an 8-mile walk back to his house. I guess he could buy a car first, go back to the house. How much money? No matter what, there's the Robert Forster has that money.
Yeah, I don't
Like,
see him
that's
going
a
back to
bag.
the house, actually. I mean, I kind of saw that the bar sort of on the way.
And we're never going to see it, but we're going to assume Robert Forster goes to him the next month and realizes, oh, great, he's not here. I'm going to take $8 million.
Right.
I think the setting up the year in isolation, plus the phone call with his son,
Yeah.
where his son says, I need you to die.
Why aren't you dead?
Why aren't you dead?
And then add to that the interview on Charlie Rose with the people he had a beef with, which inspired his bad behavior. That this typifies, like, it goes through a series of, this is what I'm doing. He refers to his last year as his life's work.
Right.
In this episode.
Right.
So everything that he values, that he is working for, that justifies his existence, is telling him to go F himself, and that he doesn't matter. All he wants is to matter. His son says you don't matter. His
colleagues to whom he did the important work for them.
Yeah,
and
and
they're
so-
like, oh, he came
He
up
came
with the name. Came
and
up with the
I
name.
think now there's nothing left to live for, and he's got nothing to lose. So the money in the barrel, which was going to a family that now doesn't care about him, I think he's leaving it.
I think he'd still like to get. My hunch is he still would want for Holly and Scott. And he would understand that. I still would think he's going to try and. He'd love to kill those guys and figure out a way to get the money to his family. But either way, you're right. He doesn't care, and he's ready for death by cop or death by white supremacist.
And I think you just made me think of something. I might be wrong that when I was saying before that he wasn't planning on going back to the house, but I think that seeing that Charlie Rose interview and seeing the gray matter people, they really play that as a beat that really kind of pushes him over the edge on the heels of clearly speaking to his son and realizing, my family they've succeeded in destroying my family. I'm sure that's the way he sees it. They've succeeded in destroying my family. And now these guys are sort of rewriting history so that because everybody thinks I'm an S-bag anyway.
But he'd already made the decision about the phone, when he saw that thing. So because it was the call with Flynn
Right.
that did it.
Yeah.
So that I'm curious what that gray matter Charlie Rose conversation. God bless Charlie Rose, by the way.
Yeah. Amazingly done.
Yeah,
It
amazingly
was a
done.
real interview.
Yeah, it was a real interview. He did a nice job. It's but he'd already made the call to go fight the war. So I'm curious what, if anything, the gray matter conversation
The call
influenced.
to go fight the war.
I mean, to fight his war, like he's going to fight those guys, and presumably because he'd already.
So he gave himself up. That's what I thought. He was like,
you're
"I'm
right.
done."
I missed it. So he's prepared. He's prepared when he hangs up the phone to sit there drinking whiskey until cops come.
Yeah.
And then when he sees the gray matter thing, he thinks
He's like,
no,
not so fast.
not so. Oh, interesting. Of
I'm
course.
gonna go.
Well, the gray matter thing, I think, really pushes him.
I missed the week.
Over
You guys weren't here, so I missed the week before when he's giving himself up on the phone. I'm like, no, don't you know the cops are there? Why aren't you explaining that you didn't kill Hank? And then only when other smarter people point out, no, he knew the cops were there, you idiot. He's letting Skylar off. Oh,
It was so
right.
sad.
And then
Right.
they addressed
And then
that,
he
of
takes the
course.
baby.
They addressed that, of course, at the beginning of this episode, which where Saul essentially, and I thought that was important. Saul kind of lays it out for him in a legal way and describes it.
it was great.
Yeah,
Right.
paints the picture of, hey, great idea on the call.
Right.
You may have bought her, you may get her off ultimately, but
That's
this
in
just
22
in,
months.
Yeah,
Right.
She's going to be screwed. Right. And by the way, the money, forget about it. You can't get her that money any way you try.
It's such a sophisticated show. They did one thing wrong that all television shows do, and it was part of doing something great. Who didn't love Saul's matching luggage? right? Right, Saul's matching blue
it's
luggage.
all-
He gets the blue. I don't want to get it confused with all the people with the black bags, right? Right. So, but like every other show ever, the bags were empty.
I saw
like
it,
a
too. I saw
guy
it, too.
picks up the bags. There's no weight. There's no tension.
Yeah, he's got them all like
You grab them all like,
with the fingers.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
I noticed that as well. It's funny.
All right. Well, I mean, it seems ridiculous that we have to wait 6 days, but
Is it 1 hour or is it 2 hours?
this
I
was
wanna-
75 minutes,
Yeah.
so you got to figure it's longer than that, or hopefully.
God, I'm so glad that we've come as far as we have with DVR technology. That my DVR knew it was longer.
That's right.
'Cause there was
can
a
you
time-
imagine? Can you imagine? Right.
There was a TiVo
That's
time.
exactly right.
right.
When I
Nope,
would.
That's
I was-
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the blowback on that would have been pretty heavy duty.
All right, Mark Thompson, Brett Erlich. Thanks, guys. We will see you next week.